Hey, welcome to Found Live, our very special live recording of the Found podcast. I'm Daryl Etherington, your host, and I'm joined by the trivial to my pursuit.
That's me. Trivial. I'm very trivial, and you're more in pursuit of things. I'm Jordan Crook. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us on this live recording of the Found podcast. Found is TechCrunch's podcast where Daryl and I talk to founders and get the stories behind the startups. We're going to be going live every other Thursday, and you definitely don't want to miss next Thursday when the equity crew will be coming on live. They're also an okay podcast, so if you like numbers and stuff, you go check that out. No, they're cool. I like them. I do. I like them, and the podcast is really good. Also, we're welcoming two more podcasts to the TC Pod family. The first is called Chain Reaction, and that'll be led by Lucas Manny and Anita Ramaswamy. They're going to break down what's happening in the wild world of crypto. And the second new one is the TechCrunch Live podcast, which if you're hanging out with us, then chances are you've heard of TechCrunch Live, and that's just coming to you in audio format. So same thing, just, different format.
Yeah, that is definitely worth a listen. So go check that out. Follow both of those. Also, one more reminder before we get going. If you're joining us on Twitter or YouTube, we're broadcasting everywhere all the time. Well, not all the time, but for the next hour. But you can still...
God, I hope not all the time.
You can still join us on Hopin, which is where we have the interactive elements. So that's where you can... you register there. It's free. Takes a minute to register, but then you're in and you can ask questions live, and those questions will be fed to us via our producer Maggie, and then we'll be able to ask Thor live on the show. So it's not just our questions like our usual show, it can be yours too, provided they're good questions. That's important. But also
or whatever.
or whatever. And while you're busy just registering for things and signing into things, you could, if you really felt like doing us a favor, going over to the Webbies and vote for us there. We're nominated for a Webby Award. We're very happy to be nominated.
Honored.
Honored is what I was looking for.
It's a privilege.
Find that at bit.ly/vote4found. That's 4 as in the number, so vote4found.
Yeah. Okay, we did all of our promos and our plugs and stuff, and now we get to get into it. I'm excited. Our guest today is Thor Friedrichsen. He's the CEO and co-founder of Rocky Road. You may also know him from founding QuizUp, and he was the founder of Trivia Royale or Tea Time Games. Essentially, like king of mobile gaming is the way I like to think of him. Thor, how's it going, man?
Yes, king of mobile gaming. I'd love to start every interview like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to get into the bad stuff too, Thor. Okay,
great,
it's not all
great.
roses. It's why the company's called Rocky Road, right? It's been a rocky road for you. But
it has.
If somebody knows how to make a viral mobile game, it's this dude. So we have tons to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks, Jordan. Yeah. I want to start by I
know you can't go into too much. You've previewed to us that you can't go into too much detail, but how much can you tell us about Rocky Road and your current venture? Because that's usually how we start these things out, of like, give us a high level overview, kind of what you're up to now. Right?
Well, it's brand new, so there isn't that much I can disclose. We just closed our seed round 2 months ago, so we are kind of at this amazing stage, which I actually like the best, the ideation stage, where we kind of still have a pretty blank canvas. I mean, of course, we know what we're building, but there can still be so many cool changes to where we're going, and there's a lot of wireframing and just it's I don't know. I think that I've tried building companies that scale really quickly, and at all different stages they have these different cons, pros and cons. But this stage that I'm at right now, where you're kind of you just finished your seed funding, so you're not worried about next month's balance, but everything is so open, everything is so free. It's a magical time, and I think that any entrepreneur that just finishes seed funding on some great idea that he has, those couple of months after that, they're just great. So I'm super excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a very exciting time. Me and Jordan just had editorial team meeting, and we're now what 12 years into this or whatever, and I'm like, do I remember that feeling? It's been a while. But it's not equivalent.
We're way down the rocky road.
Yeah.
And it's not our idea, and we just came here and we just kind of like say stuff, but
you know,
well,
the company is called Rocky Road. I mean, that's not the product, that's just the company. And I somehow, as you just mentioned, you know, for some reason, like my company names have always been a little bit random. My first company that did QuizUp, actually, the company behind it was called Plain Vanilla. I don't know if you remember that. And it's, I don't know, I've somehow like stuck to doing ice cream flavors as names of my companies. And, you know, I was into Plain Vanilla at the time, but now I kind of like the chunky, rocky roads. But also, as Jordan mentioned, I mean, my journey at least, and I think most entrepreneurial journeys are, you know, they have their victories and they have their losses. They have like the darkest of times and they have the best of times. You know, I think like no entrepreneur or no one that's done anything, you know, that's become big hasn't experienced those dreadful moments where you think all is lost and you just want to give everything up. And I think that's like one of the reasons why the new company is called Rocky Road, because the journey is a rocky road. And if you can kind of evade the pitfalls, you will, you know, hopefully reach the summit. That's kind of my you know, ethos here.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably something a lot of the people in our audience, because a lot of the people in our audience are likely like embarking on it for the first time, right? So maybe they might be pre the point you're at now, where you have that elation that like, well, we got some money in and now the we have lots of ideation going on and we're ready to run, right? So maybe they're in the first, like a little bit desperation looking around, but I think it's worthwhile, especially from somebody with your background, to like, you're now baking that in. Like, you're like, this is the experience start to finish. And people who don't necessarily, like when you built your first company, did you expect that? Or what did you think about when you were going into it the first time around, if you can think back? But
I mean, before QuizUp, which was kind of like the first hit title that I got involved with, or I did, you know, I had my shares of failures actually. And I mean, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into when I founded my first company. I just recently graduated university. I actually I wasn't even thinking about going into the startup scene. I mean, at that point, or the tech scene, because I'm not an engineer. I don't have the background for that. But I had like a pivotal moment in my kind of career when I was studying. So I was doing like this business degree in England or in Oxford. And they had this event at Oxford that was called Silicon Valley Comes to Oxford. So it was like this is like in 2008, I think, you know, just when the crashes happened and you know, and during this week, I was kind of intrigued by it. Like some of the real big shots of Silicon Valley came over to Oxford and spent like a week with us, like the MBA students. And we had like really big names there. You had Elon Musk, you know, you had Reid Hoffman, you had Biz Stone, you know, all these, you know, veteran founders. And they actually like spent a lot of time with us, you know, younglings there. Wow. You know, we did dinners and workshops and all of that. And I think that if there's one kind of a point in time where, because I'm obviously not from the US, I'm from Iceland, which is like not known for their vibrant, at that time at least, tech community or startup community. I just got completely, what's the word? It's the adjective I'm looking for here. I just got very like entranced by this, you know, this journey, this tech company, Silicon Valley dream somehow. And I think that's when I decided that I wanted to, you know, start my own tech company. And there wasn't, you know, I didn't even know what I was going to do in the beginning. So, you know, I just wanted to be a part of this, you know, fabulous story. And it was like, I imagined it much more glorious or glamorous than it actually is. And that's like a very big mistake for every entrepreneur that kind of, you know, thinks about the journey as being like, like a road of victories, that people are just laying out red carpets for you. It's not like that. You meet a lot of resistance.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you had it was beneficial in one way that you had all those luminaries, but then it was also like it's everybody for whom, I mean, they also had their own, you know, reversals and whatever, but like it's a lot of people who just did very, very well, right? So you have like, you've already narrowed your example case to like, this is the best possible scenario.
The stars.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Well,
No, I mean,
let's talk about the rocky road though, Thor, because I think that like I want to talk a lot about the game you're building, and I know you can't share everything about it, but there's some stuff we could talk about. But it's almost impossible to do it without the context, right? Of everything before, and like I've been following Thor for a billion years. It feels like, right? Like from the beginning, I was writing about Quiz Up, I wrote about Tea Time, and like how I imagine you, Thor, is like you're this, you care so much about the experience of the game that like anything that interferes with that is super problematic to you, right? Like you're pretty stubborn about anything that interferes with that. And that's in a lot of ways what has led to so much success, right? Like Quiz Up had millions of players. Trivia Royale blew up. Yeah. And Trivia Royale blew up in like 10 minutes. Like it was out of nowhere. It was like this huge thing for a while. But it's caused issues with your monetization. I remember talking about Quiz Up and people were like, well, and it's important for the audience to remember that Quiz Up was pre like subscriptions. It was pre like, you know, in-app purchases and some of that stuff. So it was like kind of inventing the economy of mobile gaming in a lot of ways. So instead of having that regular playbook, we're like, oh, ads, just like ads. Right. And Thor was like, absolutely not. We'll only do native ads that are like beautiful and part of the game. So essentially like a quiz about Coca-Cola or something, right? Which is impossible to scale. And so like, I don't know. Yeah. Difficult.
One of the lessons.
And,
yeah, there's a learning right there.
Yeah, there's a learning. Yeah. But they were nice. You know, we had, you know, we went to partnerships with every big brand in the world almost, you know, and they paid a lot for like us. But, you know, again, it's the scaling thing that's hard to deal with. And the only like, I hate to say it, but when it comes to really scaling up these kind of revenue streams, if you're not doing premium subscriptions or in-app purchases, is through ads. And the reality is that programmatic ads are horrible. And I'll just say it. You know, I'm in the mobile gaming business, and I thought they were going to get better with like some interactive ads and all of that. But I don't know. We can go into that later. But I truly believe that, you know, mobile entertainment, even though it's like bigger than ever before. I mean, it's the single biggest entertainment sector in the world. It's bigger than anything else. And right now it's being like driven by performance marketing and ads.
Yes.
You know, with the likes of hyper casuals, they're like just dominating the charts everywhere. And, you know, I think it kind of sucks. I'll just be totally honest with you. Like as a person that kind of values like the experience, I mean, they don't even try to make these games viral or try to create like these wow moments or try to, you know, get you to play with your friends, like all of these things that are really like important to me in my games at least. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like what I'm doing now is actually like kind of the answer to this, and we'll go into that later. But right now, I mean, hyper casuals, for example, I mean, they are basically just like a delivery mechanism for ads.
Yes.
I mean, it's like the only purpose of these games is to get you in at the lowest possible CPI or the lowest possible cost. They only like, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone. I mean, there are, of course.
Oh no, just go for it. Be bold, Thor.
But you know, the majority of these games are crap, and they have like very sophisticated, equations behind it, like huge Excel and like analytics around it. Like, how can we get the average user, to watch enough ads to justify the buying price? It's basically just a CPI LTV equation without getting too technical. And that's what you'll feel. When you try these hyper casuals, you might be like intrigued by the gameplay, you see an ad on it, and they'll start immediately with interstitials, with rewarded ads. And it's funny. I mean, can you imagine it? Like, it's getting harder and harder to shut down these ads. Have you noticed that you get like an ad and
the
then
touch point
you have
is
to
like,
where's the X?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a tiny X right in the corner. You try to take it, and maybe you have like big fingers. Oh no, you go to the App Store. Oh, you go back. Try it again. Oh, then there's another screen.
And then it's like you love that
ad.
ad. Like you really like that one. You want to buy it, don't you?
Yeah, you click on it so many times. Yeah.
And I mean, I understand that this is a great business, the hyper casual and the whole performance marketing. I mean, all these companies around that are up to doing the optimizations, all of it. It's a big business, but like the quality of these games and the experience, I think it's gone down. I think like the kids, the entertainment, like the kids are playing, right? Like at this point in time, we thought we'd be at a very sophisticated place with the experiences, but they're not. I feel they've kind of gone backwards in many cases.
I agree, and I think
it's
we were talking when we were covering sort of the Activision Blizzard acquisition offer or whatever, and King is their moneymaker. Like the part of them that people think about as Activision Blizzard is actually minuscule in relative to the revenue that King drives, right? The Candy Crush maker King. So it's just, and it's like you're talking about, and this is, I also don't want to get reader email, but whatever. Like the capitalist engine is so effective at just reducing the thing to it's a lab rat equation by the time you're done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, because it's so easy to get if you do any iterations, because like all the A/B testing, it's so effective. You can see like immediately if there's if there's a difference that matters, or like within a standard deviation or so, that you can calculate so precisely on how these experiences are. And look, I've been also worked as a consultant, so I've been had lots of touch points in bigger companies with this, and I don't know. I mean, it's just another business, the companies, they know they're not making good games, but it doesn't really matter because the economics are there. I mean, and that's of course what matters in a capitalistic society. And I'm not saying that's a wrong thing. I'm just saying this is like an unfortunate side effect of how well these kind of experiences can generate money through the users through ads, that really dictates the experience, not necessarily in favor of the user.
But how do you find your personal equilibrium with that, right? Because you clearly love games. I've heard you talk about games and what it feels like to play a game, and it's like an art to you, right? Absolutely. And you can clearly tell if anybody in the audience has played any hyper casual mobile game in the last 10 years ish, right? Or maybe 5 years, you can tell that there is so much more time and energy spent on the marketing of it, right? And the ad system of it and the economy of it than there is on the game itself. I have clicked on ads for games that are completely different than the actual game. It looks completely different in the ad. It's the most misleading thing in the world. It's oh, you're going to do this, this, and this. And it's actually just a video that was made up that has nothing to do with the actual game.
I mean, I've been involved in these kind of marketing A/B tests, and they're so stupid. I like when we did Trio Royale, for example, I mean, we had to get in on it. We just had to find a way, because we had a certain LTV and we wanted to get more users in. So we started doing ads, and we did I was a part of this machine for a while with my last company, and we were doing really nice polished ads of the gameplay, making it exciting and give a good representation of what the game was. And those ads did okay. And then we were let's try to see what the others are doing and just do something stupid. Just do a paper and a pen, and just do some stick man that is walking around the forest. And we ran these ads, and some of them were performing better than the actual game. And they'll go that's fine. And I know it's just so, it seems like such a wrong direction to go. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and it's just that's what I'm saying. It feels like you're almost like the lone man, right? There's this big industry built up around the math and the science of marketing and lab ratting.
I wouldn't say I'm the lone man. I mean, there are amazing studios out there, so I'm not gonna discredit them at all. That are really nice, and I have a lot of great inspirations from a lot of them. But it's just, look, I personally feel like when you're trying to get traction, you're trying to get in users. I have this. I mean, for my next game, for example, of course we'll use some targeted marketing, and we'll try to find low CPI ads and try to find the markets. We'll do some of that, but I don't really. I want to create a product where you don't need that kind of marketing. Mm-hmm. For example, with QuizUp, this was a little bit before. I mean, we did have some sort of mobile marketing, but those like algorithms and machines weren't there. We launched the game and we had zero marketing. We only had, what's called the K factor, which is basically like, if someone tries the game, how many people around you do you, drag into the game? Right. It's like, everyone knows this now after the pandemics, the K factor, the virality, of course. Sorry about that. But like, I feel that if you, as a designer of experiences, which I think gaming is, if you're able to create like a game that has this wow moment, this moment where you go like, oh man, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. And it makes you want to like tell your friends about it, or like, hey John, try this game with me. If you're able to create that kind of magic, that's what I want to build. Of course,
but like you've created that magic before, though, Thor. But like you.
The funny thing is, there are so few games that do this. You have some amazing examples, like in the mobile gaming industry. You have like Among Us. Remember that game that like went really viral? Amazing. It's low budget. They weren't doing major ad campaigns on that. You had Pokemon Go was an example. I mean, of course, they did marketing, but it was just like such a wow experience.
Yeah. And they've proven through their subsequent things that it's not just the IP. Like they had the Harry Potter IP, very, very attractive IP.
Exactly.
Could not catch fire. Right?
No. So, I mean, and it's just funny if you think about it. If you think about like the mobile gaming industry, like as compared to the movie industry. I mean, in the movie industry, you have these hit movies. Everyone wants to see them. They don't. I mean, because people talk about them, there's buzz around them. You don't have a lot of those kind of or viral organic hit games on mobile. I mean, almost all of these games now, I mean, it's the biggest entertainment industry in the world, but these really, thought-provoking great experiences, they're really few and far between.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same formula again and again. I mean, how many match 3 games are there? Or like you see these kind of fashions or everyone like is following each other, and I mean it works. Mm-hmm. You have like the Turkey studio that just did an amazing royal match, I think Match Royale. Mm-hmm. Amazing game, and I don't want to talk down anyone here because I think that they really nailed kind of the yumminess of that game, but it's still just Candy Crush. They're just doing it over and over again with a little bit of a theme, and I don't know. I might be treading on dangerous waters here by like talking down to the whole mobile gaming industry, which I'm not. I mean, it's amazing. We have 3 billion people playing mobile games all over the world, but I feel that this a little bit more focus on the user experience is something that this industry really needs, and that is actually what I'm gonna try to bring in my next, hopefully, phenomenal product.
But like, so how much are you thinking about revenue, right? Because like it does feel a little bit unstoppable force, immovable object.
Yeah, especially since you're VC backed, and like, what do your investors think about?
You're good at making the magic, right? Yeah. Like that's not the issue. Like we know you can do that, but like if you can't work with the system in place, then you have to come up with one to replace it that's actually going to work. Otherwise, there's no reason for. I mean, at the end of the day, the VCs are like, well, where's the money though? Where's my
you're absolutely right, and I'm sure that a lot of like very high-profile investors, if they're watching this show, or some of my former investors will go like, "Oh dear God, Thor!" Like, so easy to talk like that. Oh, it has to be beautiful, and then just like waste tens of millions of dollars. I understand. I understand that, and I'm for you. I mean, I have made some investors money, and some have lost money. That's kind of the journey, but this, I mean, that is the challenge for me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and games have done that. There are beautiful games that that don't rely on programmatic ads, that, you know, give great value to users through microtransactions, for example, and IIPs. And I feel that when I was like starting with QuizUp, like IIPs and microtransactions were very much frowned upon, but as like some money scheme because people weren't used to them. But right now, for example, the market has changed. And if you are giving some real value in exchange for a microtransaction, I think that's okay. Yeah. As long as it doesn't get to the point where, look, I generally just don't like when companies or gaming companies, when you get the feeling, the user get the feeling that the company is almost trying to trick you, you know, to give you a little bit of a carrot and wait, no, here's a paywall, you know, and you know, that's a bad experience. But if you create an experience where, for example, you have in Fortnite, like amazing experience for users, you know, buying, I don't know how many billions of dollars or whatever what it is in different like skins and dances and these things. I mean, I think that's great. That's just a voluntary exchange of money for something that they really cherish.
Yeah.
I think that we need to, and I mean, others have, of course, but I don't think the road ahead is dark. I think that I think the whole programmatic ad part will change going forward.
Yeah, and I think there's some credit due to the bad actors. This is sounding weird already, but like the people who have gone to the extremes with the kind of stuff you're talking about with IAP, like dark patterns and just like as a person who has a highly addicted personality, like tricking me into going like, damn it, I do need 3 more hours on this whatever casual mobile game. Like those have opened the door for good actors to show themselves in relief, right? And do things like Fortnite, and where it's like that's fine, right? Everybody's bought into this. Everybody goes in eyes wide open. They know what they're getting. You're not being blackmailed into it, right? Like so I think that's one positive outcome, and I do think you're right that it's possible. But as you keep talking about it, the more I think, because in my head I'm like, what are the good examples? What are the good actor examples? And to me, they all come up as console. So I think that like there are a few mobile ones, but it seems like mobile is really a tougher nut to crack in that regard, right? Where the economics aren't yet figured out for that middle ground space. But
well, you also have to think about the fact that your console is not pulling you in 100 directions when you turn it on. So you can sit and immerse yourself into a story or a game or even like a quick hit game, right? That's happening rapid fire. But like there's no push notifications that are like, you should do this, or like be on Twitter, or like be on Facebook, or be on Instagram, or like here's an email, here's a calendar invite. Like it's so hard to keep the attention of users on mobile.
I also think like that the ad networks, because it's been such a booming business over the past years, they've just made it relatively easy for game developers to create revenue with almost no effort. And I think that might be some like the big problem. I remember when QuizUp, we were getting into monetization problems, and I wanted to figure out, do more of these amazing partnerships with Google Maps or Coca-Cola or whatever it is, these branded, you know, ads that were actually a game. And we got an investor. I'm sure I can't get the name. It was a big gaming company. I have all sorts of NDAs that I'm not aware of, I'm sure, but they were like so
many things. Who knows?
But because like we had like a huge MAU, we always, I mean, without advertising. I mean, can you imagine it like QuizUp? We like 3 years in, we were still getting around 50,000-60,000 new users a day without ads. I mean, it was crazy. It was just like new pockets of reality like spreading around the world. Anyway, I mean, they told me, or like said, like it's so easy. Just put like a banner, like a persistent banner on top of everything all the time. We've calculated that like the minutes spent in the game by hundreds of thousands of DAUs here, you'll get this kind of revenue. And I mean, they weren't wrong. It's so easy, or like just throw in an interstitial every 3 minutes. And the big thing, and this is where I contradict myself, is that these interstitials and like throwing down these ads, it doesn't affect retention as much as you think. You think that my argument would be like, no, I want a beautiful experience, I want the retention to be high, but They really don't, but it's still a bad experience.
Yeah.
So there isn't like, I don't have the magic solution here. Actually, I might be talking in circles to some extent. But right now it's just so easy for developers to create like some sort of a hyper casual, just some sort of a game mechanic, just throw the ball, do this, and then just like have the ad networks do all the optimizing, just throw in some placements for ads and start to make some money. And it kind of makes game developers to some extent lazy, because there are maybe more sustainable ways to build the revenue stream into the game with microtransactions, with subscriptions, with, you know, these kind of passes or whatever you call them. And I think it's a preferable way. But this like whole podcast is just talking about the performance marketing industry right now.
Well, let's talk about what you're building next, right? Because like, I mean, I'm trying to tread on, because I think that we've had some more off the record conversations about what you're building, and then we've talked about it for the site. So I'm trying to be super careful about that. But it sounds like you do lean in toward like microtransactions, right? Yes. And I can't believe I'm about to ask this question. Daryl's going to be shocked, but like considering everything that's going on with Web3, like how much are you thinking about like good spot in your next game being something? I mean, if we're talking about like stickiness and retention and like a long lasting experience, being able to take some of those cool things with you out into other places could be, is that something that's on your mind at all?
It's a very dangerous, you know, path we're going on talking about this.
I mean, they're like, especially in gaming.
Yeah, it's a minefield. Yeah. So maybe to explain a little bit my position. My company now, Rocky Road, we've been developing a game, and we of course, I mean, aim for it to be the next phenomenon in gaming. That's kind of how we think about it, and we're fortunate enough that we have had a lot of luck delivering some titles that really become hits in the US and over the world. So you're right. I think we have, you know, some idea of how to do that, and our objective actually, and this is important, you know, when you talk about crypto as well, is that we, you know, QuizUp had over 100 million users. You know, Pokemon Go had a couple of 100 millions of users and all of that. In our design process right now, we are designing an experience that we want to be experienced and be the first mobile game, basically, that gets 1 billion users. Okay, I know that sounds like ridiculously, you know, ambitious and all, and we can have a lot of success without actually getting that milestone. However, when you think about it like this, you start to design the experience a little bit differently, because you have to start to think about like accessibility. How can we create like a experience that can be enjoyed by almost everyone? And that's like a big part of our design thesis. There will be all sorts of artifacts, items, and other things in our game that would be very suitable for NFTs or for crypto. And I remember when I did my seed funding, can't say names, we had an offer from an investor that's very much into crypto, and they just said it plain out to me, like, you know, Thor, like this game, it is the perfect crypto game. It is like, you know, it is the perfect game for NFTs. You should just lean on it hard. And that was like kind of their condition to bring in quite a lot of capital into the company. So I decided at that point in time to wait. And the main reason is, as I said again, accessibility. I think that the concept of the token economy and like having something that you own and you can take with you or you can resell and whatever, I think the idea and the concept has a lot of merits. But right now, I think it's really a bandwagon that companies are you know, going into to be able to secure more funding, because there is a lot of funding opportunities in this space. And I feel that at this point in time, it does not add to the accessibility of any title. I mean, of course, I've tried this and I've been following this. You know, you will play Axie Infinity and, you know, yeah, hopefully not get all your money stolen away from you. Sorry, that was uncalled for. Yeah. No, but like just the process of like just starting the game. of like, you have to get your own wallet, you have to do all of this, you have to be like a little bit of an engineer just to get through. And I know there are new solutions trying to solve that, but they're definitely not there yet. No. And so my view on this is that I kind of understand both sides or both camps in this. I see potential in crypto and NFTs in games for sure, but it's just something that we will be watching carefully and wondering at some point whether we want to add to our game, but we're not building the game around the concept.
Right.
And I think that's just so important. I think I have a slide in my seed deck that says like, sure, we have NFT potential. Sure, the game is kind of like a metaverse, but we don't want to race based on these buzzwords. You know, we just don't want to jump on a bandwagon because it's there. We want to create a beautiful experience. And then if we can add these things, and if we feel it's adding to the experience of the users at some point, sure, of course we look at it. But right now, I don't think that it just hinders a lot of people from actually like joining.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And it's great. Like I'm thrilled to hear you talk about it that way, because it is like, you know, we cover a lot of crypto stuff and I see endless debate about it, obviously, on Twitter and TechCrunch and everything else. But like the point of it right now, you got it you expressed it very well, and it's something I've struggled to express, but I think that it's something that a lot of people would agree is functionally true, is that while it has at its heart an ethos of free and open accessibility to everyone, it is functionally it's functionally the opposite of that. It's functionally something that creates private and exclusive.
It's a lot of friction
to which no one can gain admittance unless you have a certain amount of money or a certain amount of technical expertise, right? And
I agree.
Yeah,
and I also don't want to like have any like big statements on crypto right now, because we are gonna like be doing our like, you know, next round of funding soon, and I don't want to like, you know,
use that carrot.
Shitting on mobile gaming, shitting on
mobile games,
the crypto.
It's all crap.
Everybody's stupid.
Look at me, the savior.
Look at me, the savior. Oh, Thor, you're always so much fun. Well, okay.
But to be honest with you, like I can tell you that we are doing a metaverse. I wasn't going to say that, but no, I mean, like, one way to describe it, and is that we are kind of taking some of the good things from casuals and hyper casuals, and we're not doing a hyper casual game. You can, as you can imagine, after my rant earlier in this podcast, but you know, they have some, you know, redeeming features. One of them is that, you know, hyper casuals are really easy to get into. They're really simple. You know, you don't need a tutorial. And I feel that a lot of games, especially, you know, when I don't know, like just games are too complicated to, if I want to get to those, again, if I want to get to the billion player base, you can't have a steep learning curve. That's just like one of the prerequisites. And you could say that we are making a bit of a casual MMO would be one way of saying it. So it's very heavy on social, meeting people, playing with friends in a way that does not intimidate, does not need a tutorial, you know, something you can play with your spouse, with your kid, with your mom, in a completely, you know, new way. And I don't want to give too much up, but I have to say though, I've been in a lot of projects over my years. And I've been like, of course, I'm always super excited about what I'm doing at the time, but I think this is definitely the most ambitious and the project I'm most excited about that I've ever been involved in. And I feel it kind of takes all the good parts from what I've done in my previous games and marries them with some other new stuff. And it's just, you know, as I said before, it's a new company. I have some great people with me. I have one little bit bump in the road. We have a pretty big team of engineers that are located in Ukraine right now, as a lot of gaming companies, which has been, of course, a little bit, you know, a rock in the road, so to speak. Well, I'm not talking it down. It's been more than that, but that's just the journey. It's surreal. I mean, they're working, and I'm doing Zoom calls to Ukraine where we sometimes have to stop because there's an air alarm that goes off, and that's surreal. But
Yeah.
I was a bit of a downer here. I'm sorry, but other than that, we are at this stage in the company where we just got funding. We have this amazing idea. We have a real North Star, which is one of the most important things as a founder that you can have. That's like, and I can have another podcast on that, on like the mistakes you can do as founders. And one of them is not kind of having a North Star on the product side before you start. And we have that. And we're just working towards that goal. And it's going to be, a couple of years, but I really can't wait to show it to the world.
So like, how do you think about, because when you are trying to get 1 billion people on a game, right? You were talking about accessibility, like it's so broad, right? It has to appeal to so many people. And yet like most games, whether they're like console or PC games that are super in-depth and immersive, or they're even casual games that are shitty, like the ones we've been talking about, have like some theme to them, right? Like maybe it's not even like a theme and like a content-based theme, but like a visual theme, or like something that ultimately ends up slicing the audience, right? Like, most people would agree that
the most successful game of all time is Facebook. But maybe that's too much.
It has a theme too.
Yeah.
It's blue, dude. Okay.
It's blue. Yeah.
Which was scientifically chosen as the most pleasing color to all people.
If you really look at the actual interplay and interdynamics, like people are fictionalizing everything on there, right? Like they're all essentially playing a kind of a game, but it has mass appeal. Like there are ways to it. I'm making the devil's argument, and like there are ways to build something that unifies.
You're also digressing way away from what I'm talking about.
No, but you're completely right. I mean, we thought about this. Like as I said, we are creating a game that is an open world game to some extent, but as soon as you like add a theme to it, you're gonna slash away a big part of the audience. I mean,
right?
Do we do a sci-fi game like that happens in outer space? No, you lose like 70% of the audience, like right there. Not everyone. I mean, I like space things, but not everyone does. So what about
we love space things?
I know.
We'll play your space
what about
game.
like I know I already did a space game actually. It wasn't popular. I learned that was like one of my rocks, but hyperspeed it was called. Oh dear God!
I remember it.
Okay,
it was tea time.
But it was tea time. But anyway, and then we could do like fantasy. I mean, everyone likes fantasy, right? No. Surprisingly, like I would have thought so. I mean, Game of Thrones was pretty mainstream, and Lord of the Rings and all of this stuff. But no, that's not going to be the billion-player game. And I just think it's like again. So people don't think I'm crazy, going on a podcast saying I'm gonna do the billion-player game. We can have a very successful game without reaching that milestone. I just want to say that. Yeah. It's more the how you think about it. When you think about making a game,
you used it as You've described already like it's a focuser, right? Because you're like, okay, the people come here and I'm like that.
And it sounds like it would be the opposite, but it actually is like a box of constriction that's good, right?
Really big, but I mean, it's a pretty narrow box actually, because we can like eliminate so many design choices. We're not gonna have complicated RPG stats, your strength, your dexterity, or whatever it is, or like even though I love role playing, I love it, but that's gonna scare away my mom for sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? So our challenge has been like, how can we make an experience that is so super simple? You don't need any tutorial. You just kind of start, but it's still, engaging enough and deep enough to keep you hooked, and more importantly, to want to play it with your friends. And that's why we have like a mantra here in Rocky Road, and I think a lot of game companies should, use this mantra. Is that the game? It has to be great alone. I mean, there has to be an element of single player experience, because sometimes you just want to like play something in the bathroom and just be alone with it. It has to become better with people, like multiplayer, like getting to meet people, the communication, the social part, and do it well. But most importantly, it has to become best with friends. And this is where almost all mobile companies fail. I mean, we have some good examples of this, but where if you create a product that, if you again, create this wow moment that you want to bring your friends to play it, and it's easy to connect. You don't have to, create a room, join room, searching, like these kind of, these processes. How can you just make it super simple for friends, whether they're sitting in the same room together or far apart, just to start playing and create an enjoyable experience? And I feel that is one of our objectives with our new title.
Wow.
And I'm being very cryptic here,
You are, but I mean, even as you're describing it, it's clear. Like, we've already talked a lot about the sort of like world building constraints, but you've also just described a whole bunch of technical constraints, right? Like, you're really setting a lot of significant challenges, like, because you're talking about joining rooms or whatever, being on the same network, like Android, iOS, like all of these things come into play when you're talking about easy, jumping in with multiplayer environments or with friends. And so, yeah, I mean, which is to say, great, wonderful, more. I mean, the whole time you've been talking, I've been thinking, this is great. It's so exciting to hear about somebody who's taking real risks, because you talked about all those formulas. Those are kind of like the way a lot of VC works now, unfortunately. Like, it's like, oh, you pattern match this thing, where it's like, well, in the original days of VC, that was absolutely not the case. It was, absolutely. Oh, did you completely buck the trend of the thing that we're seeing? Yeah. Therefore, I'm going to bet on you, because it's an immense risk, but if you change it, it all changes, and then I win big, right? So, and what you're describing sounds like that, not the other thing, which is exciting, right?
Yes, I mean, I guess it is, and I mean, and I mean that is the risk. Again, I mean, I think that, I'm not saying I would be successful at it, but I think that the other way would just to create, fun gaming experiences, which I've quite got a lot of experience in, and like kind of dress them as hyper casuals and just throw a lot of ads in it. And again, I always feel like I'm down talking some of my colleagues here who are doing this. But in QuizUp, it was a very casual experience. I was very adamant on it being simple with no tutorial. So I had some of the same principles there. And we were like piecing people together, like from all over the world, based on their interests. So you would, you could like go into the Game of Thrones topic, for example, and you would play someone, a random person from somewhere far away, and you would do some games. And we made it really easy for people to connect, to chat to each other, to add you as friends, and so forth. And the results were that, like, we had, I think, like dozens of weddings or marriages that happened just from people, connecting on a social game like QuizUp. And I know I sound like I want to make a dating app right now, which I don't, but I think that for me as a game designer or in this industry, to create like a product that is so like that is elegant and really helps you connect with new people or your current friends in a meaningful way, that is like the greatest source of contentment that I ever felt from some of my previous games or ventures. So I hope that I'll be able to replicate some of that in our next product.
Yeah, I hope so.
What's the timeline, Thor? Like, when are we going to get to play this?
When are we going to get an invite?
999 million others. Yeah.
So we are, as you just mentioned, Daryl, there's a lot of not only like design challenges, but also a lot of technical challenges that we're faced, because we want to make this different than anything else. So right now we are in the phase of kind of proving out some of the technical hurdles that became very apparent as soon as you started to develop like the first MVPs. So I feel that this is a bigger project than any I've done before. So I'm expecting it. I think, Jordan, that I'll ping you in about a year when we have something to show. Maybe something before the end of the year, but that's not going to be for the public yet. I think like a public launch will be in 2 to 3 years.
That sounds
Now
reasonable.
put it on the cow.
Given everything you're trying to do. But is that something, have you been up, like,
it doesn't sound reasonable for mobile games. I mean,
Right,
hyper
no.
casuals, they take
No.
like 2 weeks to develop a lot of
Yeah.
them. So,
But when
yeah.
you're having conversations with VCs and you say that number, do you see kind of do they just get up and walk out of the room, or how does that part of the conversation?
I mean, they'll add a couple of months to it because that's inevitably what happens in every single software planning situation I've ever been into.
Yes.
So, don't tell the VCs, but it's probably like more like 4 years.
All right, we'll keep it between us. But yeah,
no, but that's I mean, of course, you have to do it in slices, and you have to do some like focus testing and some like MVPs on different features that you'll try out. You'll do soft launches. I mean, there are like tons of ways to do that now, and lots of easy ones actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because we're still in the ideation stage, I mean, the whole roadmap hasn't been set already. We're just working on that, and I just again, I really look forward to creating a great experience for people that will want them, will make them want to share it with their friends.
Yeah,
that's like the main part. If we get there, then we're already ahead of 99% of all mobile games.
Right.
If you just create a game that you feel so good about, or you have some experience that makes you go to your friend and say like, you have to try this.
Yeah,
because we're totally immune to that right now. We just play the next hyper casual and we just like do it for a couple of seconds and then we go to the next one.
Yeah, and even if you get really into it yourself, no one has ever come up to me and said like, "Oh, have you ever played whatever clicker?"
I know. I mean, this was like maybe happened in the beginning of mobile, but it doesn't happen anymore. It's so noisy, and I mean, and this is the reason why performance marketing is so important to these companies, because people don't do this anymore.
Yeah, no.
But I think that it's because the products don't provide that opportunity.
Yeah, it's sort of a chicken and egg problem, right? Like
absolutely.
The performance market has somewhat killed that. Yeah, But yeah, I'm thinking like back to probably Monument Valley. This was like the last one that I was
amazing
actively
game.
like. Yeah. Well, I really hope personally that you achieve everything you set out to do, because it sounds fantastic, and like selfishly, it just personally aligns with kind of a lot of my thoughts around the gaming industry and where it's gone. I do ping back and forth with like, is this just nostalgia? But no, it's not, right? Like there are games that are quality experiences, and it's a shame if, generations who are coming up now and using the mobile device as their primary computing device, like don't get to have those kinds of experiences. They get a very sort of like lessened version of that, right? But
I think like a good company that I always admire a lot, that has never really, I feel, fallen into this trap is Nintendo. I think Nintendo are like, they're super, I mean, again, not talking down other companies, but they have this kind of ethos of doing things in the right experience. So definitely that's like one of the, as I said, it's a huge market. So there are really good players there. Nintendo is one of them, although there are other things about that. We're not going to go into that, but yeah, I mean, there are amazing games there. But it doesn't change the fact that, these hit games on mobile, they're really few and far between. It's not like the movies when you have like, people aren't waiting for this amazing new movie and everyone's going to see it. And it's like 99% of mobile games, it's so spread out. Like the long tail is just so incredibly long. Although like it's mostly the same games that are making the revenue. And it's still the same games. It's still Candy Crush. It's still... you have these games that are just like hanging in there, and they've been doing it for several years.
Yeah. And now they're getting movies made out of them too. Actually, I don't know if Candy Crush has been optioned, but I'm sure it's in line.
I don't even know how you make that a movie, but I'm sure that will. I mean, there was a whole movie about emojis, so.
Yeah.
Hey, look, one of the reasons my QuizHub failed was a Hollywood deal that went down the drain. That's one of my most painful kind of lessons.
So
I wonder too, though, right?
Because like when Hollywood comes calling,
like deals with other, but like it's not just Hollywood, right? Like I just feel like Thor, like if you get approached in the future, you are super successful at this, and anyone comes around, right? Like an acquisition offer, a big Hollywood deal, book deal, whatever, right? Like I feel like you're going to be a bit wary about that. Have you like made any like hard rules? Like I'm never selling, I'm taking it public, or like, you know.
I mean, what I've had a couple of these instances with my company. I mean, with my companies, you had QuizUp, for example. We signed this huge deal with NBC to make like it was called QuizUp America. It was a game show, like an interactive game show, and it was a pretty big deal actually. We spent millions and millions of dollars in making a pilot. I went with, and I have to admit, like at that point in time, I kind of got swept away, like with the glamour of Hollywood. You know, they invited me to Cannes, where they had like where they were like promoting the show to other networks all around the world, and like there was so much glamour and money in this, and I got like super excited about it. Sent like half of my team to LA, where we set up base and we started working with NBC, and we spent, I don't know how many millions of dollars on that project. All of our fundraising was kind of aligned to that. There was massive revenue potential there. You know, basically imagine like a live game show where you could have the app, pay like $1 to participate, and you could win $1 million every day. I mean, you know, everyone thinks they're so smart. Everyone like watches game shows and think they can do it better. Just imagine. I mean, it hasn't really been done properly yet. I know that Netflix is doing something now, but not like this. And we got super excited about it, and we kind of put all our eggs into that basket. And then I still remember that day. I mean, I just got an email from the executive of NBC, like, "Hey, really sorry about it. It's canceled." And this is, I've been warned about this because Hollywood can be so unpredictable. You know, you have some people seeing like it's not very scientific. It's not Silicon Valley based on data. It's a lot of feeling, you know.
If you hit the wrong executive, it's over. Or
exactly.
if like a studio has a head change.
Exactly. We don't really know why. And there have been theories of that. But the problem there, I mean, I think it's exciting still to do something mainstream as that. And I would have wanted to see that show go live. But the problem and the lesson I learned there, and this goes to all entrepreneurs, is not to put all your eggs into the same basket, because we surely did that. You know, we were just betting on that. It was a long process, and when it like got swept under us, we were in a super difficult situation because we were in the middle of a fundraising, and this was kind of like the main, you know, pitch of our revenue model going forward, and it just put us into a very bad spot. And so yeah, movies. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's like that's a diversify your approach thing, but it's also like if don't depend on externalities to that extent, right? Because that's like
exactly, yeah.
It's like if your major tentpole is reliant on a huge partner, especially in like you said Hollywood, where things change and things seem so concrete, and then they're just gone and nothing, right? Yeah, that is a good lesson. It is. It's always a good lesson to be careful who you partner with, and then you know. Be careful to how much of your business becomes dependent upon that partnership. Right?
Yeah, that's the real key piece. I mean, obviously you want to be careful who you partner with, but like how much energy you put into it, right? Like you said, it's the same thing with the North Star on product as it is on like how your company operates and sustains itself too, right? Like there has to be something within that is the key.
I agree. I mean, in this instance, for example, I can blame myself that I kind of like lost sight of my North Star, because my North Star for QuizUp was a mobile, you know, gaming social network, which it became. But then like it was turning into something completely different with this TV show, which was, I don't know, it was just, but you know, it's sometimes when you have like powerful men, especially when you're a young entrepreneur and you're doing all of this thing for the first time, and you have like presidents that treat you and like, you know, wow you, swoo you, whatever it is. You get swept away, and but you're right, Jordan. I've built a resistance to this, I think, at this point in time in my career. So I'll be hugely skeptical about any sort of offers that seem too good to be true.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do next, because I do feel like you've had this long career in gaming that has been super successful, and also, you know, not at the same time, right? With some big dips in there. And you've learned so many lessons. So, I mean, I think that if I were a VC, I would bet on you just because like, how could you not? You've gone through it all. You got to get it right this time, right? And I think
don't
that you will.
repeat it again. Some of the same.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're
I
making new mistakes, you're Gucci.
I think in tea time, I thought that I'd learned so much from QuizUp, but then I like made a whole new session of mistakes that I have categorized now in my book of mistakes. No, I mean, but this is look. I mean, my first game I ever made before QuizUp, I was like, it was a children's game, and I was like super passionate about it. It was called the Moogies, and no one has heard about it. So, but it's one of the most proud like experiences that I've ever like the game is one of the best experiences I've created. You can't find it anywhere now, maybe a trade or somewhere. And it felt like I overestimated like the appeal of the game so greatly that like after that game was launched and I was practically bankrupt, I was like in a totally dark place. I just came from university. I'd spent my whole savings on this game. I really believed in it. And I think like my main lesson in this roller coaster of a career I've had is still the same. It's just perseverance. Just don't quit. It would have been so easy to quit after the first kind of failure and the stigma that surrounds it. But I don't know, like a month after that total failure, which was actually kind of like humiliating to me because it was kind of public in my small town, like of Reykjavik, of Iceland, because we're a, if you do things like this, everyone notices. So I was like kind of humiliated after that. But then just QuizUp came along, or that idea, or that North Star that it was, and just got back on the horse, and just like now. So I think that's like the biggest lesson, and it's a cliche, of course, but this is definitely the biggest lesson of like any entrepreneur can give to another. Just don't quit. Yeah. Unless you're really, really bad at it. But
you're terrible.
There's always exceptions to every rule.
If you've never seen a glimmer of success in your career, maybe you should think about it. But
But that is a great place to end with advice to never quit unless you have to. But thanks so much, Thor. This has been great. I love this conversation. I love chatting with you. I'm energized about everything. My life, the future of gaming. It was wonderful.
Your life. So wow, that was powerful. Yes, Daryl's a pretty negative Nancy, so.
I try to leave all of my people I speak with like more happy with their life. That's kind of my goal.
You do.
No, I'm
Thor,
joking. I don't do that at all. I'm just trying to be.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, Thor. Thank you for hanging with us today. It was super fun. Do we have any closing words we're supposed to tell people? No,
just join us next week for Equity Live, same time right here. And thanks again for listening to Found, everybody.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Oh.
No. Sorry, had to do that.
Okay. No sponsor. Thank you, though. Goodbye, family.
Bye.